Good afternoon, morning, evening, whatever it might be, and welcome to Lisa Lives. I am back to do a what I watched last month, which is February. I don't have long. It's almost Isaac's bedtime. I'm going to see if I can rattle through this really quickly. I don't think I watched all that much last month in February, so we shall see. I'm just going to start my screen recorder. If you don't normally watch my what I watched, hello. I just like to talk about the movies I've watched in the previous month. I do one of these a month. And the reason I do these is because I used to be a film review channel, mainly horror, but I don't like to just do away with my movies because it's a big part of what I like to do. So let's get on. 1st of February, Dolittle. I went to the cinema. Robert Downey Jr. will always attract me regardless. There were terrible reviews of this. Terrible, terrible reviews. I don't think I heard one positive review. We enjoyed it. It was perfectly good family fun. It wasn't mind-blowing, it's never going to win an Oscar, but it entertained me. We went to see it with my 8-year-old son, who enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It's talking animals, it's talking cute animals and Robert Downey Jr. Thumbs up from me, folks. On the 2nd, I watched The Miracle Season, which it's a true story. It's a very moving true story. I think it's a 12 certificate, so suitable for younger kids. Well, 12's not younger kids, but I could have let Isaac watch it. It would have been fine. Or was it a PG? I don't remember. It's about a school volleyball team. I think they call it handball. And one of the girls on the team, I think she's the captain, actually passes away. Not a spoiler what the movie's about, folks. This happens right at the start. And this is about the other girls trying to get back to things when really the last thing in the world they feel like is getting back to it. And they're wanting to try and win the season. And that is what it's about, folks. 2018 movie, and I gave it a 3 out of 5. It was a perfectly good movie. I didn't know it was true when I watched it, and then at the end it showed all the real photographs, and that makes it a little bit more impactful for me. So yeah, I would recommend it. I thought it was a nice movie. On the 5th, I watched The Pharmacist, which is a docu-series on Netflix. I'm not going to talk about it. Go watch my video on it. I did a full video in the new style that I'm adopting, which is true crime. This is very interesting. It's personal to... That's telling me to put the heating on upstairs. It's personal to me because it attacks the opioid epidemic. And obviously, if you know me, fibromyalgia, ME, I used to take opioids to cope with that pain. Don't anymore. Massive difficulty getting off them. Anyway, this is about that and a crime that surrounds that. Very, very interesting, very worth watching. Netflix, The Pharmacist. On the 6th, Elvis and Annabelle, a new one on Netflix. Right, yeah, this was okay. It was a bit quirky. This is just a love story about a young lad that works in a mortuary and a girl that inexplicably, she's a beauty queen, she is bulimic. She passes away on stage. I think she has a heart attack from not eating properly, and inexplicably she comes back to life on the mortician's table. This young boy is looking after her at the time, and they fall in love. And that's what it's about. And it's okay. It's 3 out of 5 again. I seem to be very much a 3 out of 5. If I like it but wasn't blown away and didn't think it was awful, it's a 3 out of 5. Barrymore, The Body in the Pool, 3 out of 5. Documentary that was shown, I think, on Channel 4 in the UK. I have done a video about this if you want to go watch it. Again, I go into full detail about it. This one had massive views, like The Pharmacist, which just blew me away. And I was thinking, oh, this is really exciting. Am I going to be able to start doing true crime and getting really good views like this? It's madness. Then I did one called The Crossbow Cannibal, of the one from Shipley in Bradford, where I used to live. I went on the train, I lived in the area that this happened, which is why I chose that case. And it got like 40 odd views, and it's like, ugh! So I'm not breaking through any sort of like boundary just yet. I obviously just picked good choices at that time because they were current. So Pharmacist and Barrymore, check out those 2 videos if you want to know more. On the 7th, Countdown. Yes, this was okay. This is a 3 out of 5. This is like a cross between, I think Aaron from Screen Stars may have reviewed this and said it was like a cross between Final Destination and something else, which I can't remember, and he was right. This is about a group of young people who get an app on their phone, and it shows them, you remember the thing that used to exist see the date of your death. It's basically that. And then your phone starts a countdown and tells you when you're going to die. And in some cases, these people are going to die pretty damn soon. And they're trying, well, this one, a young nurse, she has only 3 days left to live. They have to try and figure out what's happening and try and stop it. So very Final Destination, and perfectly enjoyable, 3 out of 5. On the 8th, Playing with Fire. Oh dear me. My son's a big fan of wrestling. He doesn't watch much, he just likes what he watches. And what's his name? John Cena is in this. It's the one about firefighters and 3 kids, excuse me, 3 kids that end up being looked after at the fire station. I swear it was awful. I was going to swear then. And hang on, I have to say this. What's this guy called? Is that him? It is. Keegan-Michael Key. Chris Strange Monkey. This guy reminds me of you so much. It's ridiculous. He just does. I don't know why. When he's got the goatee and the shaved head, it's Strange Monkey. And he's in it and he's awesome. I love him. So, but the film, unfortunately, was shit. On the 8th, same day, Gemini Man. This is the Will Smith one where he meets his younger self. His younger self's trying to kill him. I wasn't enamoured with it. I didn't like it. I know a lot of other people did and thought that... I'm sorry, I'm still getting over the flu. And, and they thought that people were unduly cruel about this one. And it wasn't quite as bad as people said. It wasn't for me. I didn't like it. Isaac, who is now 9, loved it. Judy. This is the 3rd film on that day, so I was obviously desperate to see something that was half decent. So obviously I knew this had won Oscars, Renée Zellweger's portrayal of Judy Garland. All I'll say is The Wizard of Oz will never be the same to me again. There's so much I didn't know about the filming of that. And I don't really need to talk about storyline. It's a very distinct period in Judy Garland's life. And I'm gonna have to have a drink, folks. I'm coughing along up here. And it was excellent. Very much recommend it. That's Judy. Oh, and there's another one. And on the same day again, Rabid, which is a remake of a... What's that guy that does all the body horror? I've forgotten his name. I'm not going to look it up, so I can't be arsed. This is one about a young woman that's disfigured in an accident, and she is given this new stem cell treatment and she's miraculously cured and she's beautiful and she's so much more beautiful than beforehand. And but there is a strange side effect, and this movie is about that strange side effect and everything that happens. I would imagine I gave this a 3 out of 5. I did. It was okay. It was an easy enough watch. On the 9th, The Girl on the Third Floor, which I think is new on Netflix. Guy doing up a house, haunted. Guy's a bit of a player away from home. Deserved everything he got, as far as in my opinion. It was a bit odd. It went on a bit. It was like, is something going to happen of some excitement? And then just a few naff things happened that were just awful. 2 out of 5. It wasn't the worst thing I'd ever seen, but it certainly wasn't. I would never watch it again. On the 9th, Jaxie. I give this a 3 out of 5 again. This is this young lad, what's his name? Adam Devine. He is electronics obsessed, and he gets, you know, like Alexa or Siri. Well, Lexi is the new version, but she is quite sassy. She's got the personality, she swears, she gives him advice, she tries to improve his life, but she ends up becoming like an obsessive girlfriend. And when he meets a young lady and things are going well for him, his phone is jealous and seems to want to intervene in hilarious ways to get in the way, to make things go wrong. Perfectly entertaining, it's funny. I do like Adam Devine, whatever his name is. Yeah, it's an interesting enough watch. Same evening, Adopt a Highway. I watched this because I like Ethan Hawke. This is one of these movies that it's never going to have a massive appeal. Basically, he is released from prison and he gets a job in a fast food place, and he finds a little baby discarded in the bins out the back. And for reasons best known to himself, he doesn't report this and he takes this little baby and he tries to raise it until eventually it becomes very clear to him that he's not capable of this. And he goes to authorities, and we follow the whole story and what happens in the end. And it's just a really nice piece of acting, and it's really genuine and heartfelt, and it was nice. 30. So I didn't watch a movie then between the 9th and the 17th. I was probably watching documentaries, I would imagine. 37 seconds, a 2.5. Yes, I wanted to like this so much and I didn't. This is Japanese. 23-year-old comic book artist, physically disabled due to profound cerebral palsy and emotionally stunted by her well-meaning but overly protective mother, forges her own unusual path to sexual awakening and independence, while at the same time discovering love and forgiveness. I loved the girl that starred in this. Let's get her name. Mai Kiyama. Is that the character name? Yuma Takada? Oh, Lisa, flipping out. I don't know what side's what. Anyway, the girl was just wonderful in this, but the story was very lacking to me. It was very lackluster. People seemed to be ranting and raving and loving this. I didn't. I really thought the acting on her part was wonderful, but it just didn't hit the spot for me. This is not going to be popular opinion. On the 18th I watched Who's Watching Oliver, which I know amongst the horror community is very popular, and it's one that I've been trying to get my hands on for a long time to watch, and I finally did. I hated it. I really didn't like it. This stars Russell Jeffrey Banks, and he is basically a guy that's a bit intellectually challenged with a very, very nasty, cruel, manipulative mother, who I think was Irish. I think I caught an Irish twang to her voice, who basically makes him bring home young women and kill them on camera so she can watch, but not before he has had sex with them on camera while she watches, and shouts various instructions and vulgarities. And it just seemed in such bad taste to me. And I know that sounds really prudish, but and then he develops this like love affair with this absolutely stunningly beautiful woman, and the mother wants him to do the same thing to her, but he doesn't, and it's all very much a power struggle. And I don't know if this is in a different position. My battery ran out. I've just done a really long true crime one, which should be up before this one. It will be. The Trials of Gabriel Fernandez. I would encourage you to check that out because it's a horrible case. Yeah. So anyway, what was I saying? Who's Watching Oliver? Apparently there is an after credit scene which I missed, which I know what happened in it, and it was just ridiculous when I hear what happened in it, but it wasn't for me. Didn't like it. On the 19th I watched Cuck. Now I learned a new word. I didn't know what a cuck was before I watched this. This is about a young male, wants to be in the army, has been rejected, unemployed, mentally unstable, lives at home with his ailing and nagging mother. He finds an outlet for his frustration online, and the alt-right community gives him a place to belong. Basically, he is everything that most people hate. He is, or I don't know if this is just conditioning, or he's homophobic, he is racist, he is, oh, God loves America and all this bollocks. He's just not a very nice individual, and he sort of becomes this voice of a lot of people, and they all get behind him, and it just sort of follows his life and what happens. And I don't really want to say any more than that. It was very well acted. It was a good story. The actual mindset of the character I found really uncomfortable. They use words that just are abhorrent, and I'm sure you can imagine the sort of words I mean, with racist connotations. But yeah, Cuck. Good movie, but the viewpoints in it expressed are so anti my own feeling. It's something that I really wouldn't choose to ever watch again. On the 21st, The Last Thing He Wanted. This is a new one on Netflix with, what's her name? Anna Hathaway in it, and Ben Affleck. I switched this off after 45 minutes when I was like thinking to myself, what under God's happening? I'm bored to tears. This is just terrible. I didn't watch the rest of it. I just thought it was awful. But another reviewer that I occasionally watch, who I only tend to watch people that review brand new movies so that I can tell if I want to see them or not. What's the guy's name? That's useful because I've forgotten. Anyway, he said it's coincidental because the title of the movie is how he felt about the movie. It was the last thing he wanted. Austin Burke? Or is it Aaron? No, Austin Burke, yeah. I watch his channel, he's good. He watches everything that hits Netflix. Series, movies, everything. So if you want to know if something's good, check him out. He's very rarely wrong, we very rarely disagree. He's usually spot on with all his reviews. On the same evening, I watched Call Me By Your Name. This is one that a good friend of mine, Chris, who used to run the channel Two Vloggers More, or Chris and Toria, who unfortunately no longer do YouTube. He loves this movie and he's always been recommending this. This is set in 1980s Italy and it's about the sexual awakening of a young teenage boy. Someone comes to stay at the home to work with his father. They fall in love. I didn't think it was all that hot, to be honest. It was very pretty. The scenery was nice. It was, I don't know, I just was expecting to be blown away by it and I wasn't. I liked it, but I didn't love it. 28th, we're almost there, with The Trials of Gabriel Fernandez. Very briefly, this is about the story of an 8-year-old boy who was tortured, abused and eventually murdered by his mother and her boyfriend, who are trialed for it, goes to court, and the documentary, 6-part documentary on Netflix, follows everything that happened, people that tried to help, the court case, the investigation. Very disturbing, very, very upsetting, but very, very in-depth, riveting documentary. I'd very much recommend it. As I said, I've done a video about that, which should hopefully be up before you're watching this one. So if you want to know more about it, go check that out. Next day, Every Time I Die. This was one on Netflix also. It's okay. Did I give it a 3 out of 5 again? I did. This is one about a group of friends. Something happens to one of the friends and oddly he is able to then enter the consciousness of different friends of his to try and prevent what happened to him or someone that is a danger from getting to his friends. There's a bit of a twist in this one. It's interesting enough. It's a very low budget movie, but it's very well acted. The characters are all very believable. It's very interesting. It won't be for everyone because it's not high budget. It's not fast moving, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was very well acted. 2 more, folks. On the same day, Onward. Went to the cinema to see this. I love this. Oh, let me open it. Is this by Pixar? I think this is by Pixar. And it's the story of, I don't even want to tell you what it's about. It is a animation. It's sort of magical. It's funny. It's heartfelt. It made me cry. That's ridiculous. It did. I'm not scared to admit it. I cried my eyes out at the end of Toy Story 3 when Andy gives his toys away to the little girl whose name Bonnie. Oh, I cried sore. My husband laughed his leg off at me. Onward, loved it. Thought it was brilliant. Chris Pratt in this. The character he voices, fantastic. Thoroughly recommend it. One of my favourite Pixar ones. Coco, I adore. Toy Story, the original, and more of them. I don't love the later ones. I really, really like them. But this, I loved. And last film, on the 29th, All the Bright Places. Oh yes, this was sad. This has got Ellie Fanning and Justice Smith. Let me just stop my recorder. Ellie Fanning I really like. I think she's a really good actress. This follows the story of a young girl at a point in her life where she's really struggling. She has recently lost her sister in an accident and she's struggling. She's withdrawn from life, from friends, from going out, from everything. And this young boy, Justice Smith, young man, has his issues as well, and they find one another and very slowly they fall in love. It's very complicated and, as they put it in the movie, very messy, very sad. I cried a lot at this also. I do cry a lot at movies, I have to admit. Funny thing is, I'm not a crier in real life. I don't, those quizzes you do, when's the last time you cried? I don't remember in real life when the last time I cried was. It's been a long time. I'm quite insular in that respect, but see if it's a movie or even an advert, folks, I will cry if it's sad. Maybe that's my outlet, I don't know. But this was so sad. So brave. The story it told was very brave, and it didn't give in to how people want things to end, and I loved that. But yeah, I would thoroughly recommend that one. That one's popped up very recently on Netflix, so check it out. That is what I've watched in the month of February. Thank you for watching if you are. Anything you'd recommend me to check out? At the minute, what I really want to see is The Invisible Man. I'm very excited about it. I watched a review today on Aaron's channel, Screen Stars, and Aaron's very rarely and occasionally we don't agree on the odd movie, but for the most part we tend to very much like the same stuff. And he said it's fantastic, and I for one cannot wait to see it. And something I didn't know, because I tend to avoid a lot of trailers these days, is that why do I start a sentence before I've thought of what the person's name is? Someone in it that I didn't know. Eldon. Lisa's gonna have to look it up. There's a guy in it that I didn't know was in it, and I'm very excited about it because he's very... Aldous Hodge. Aldous Hodge, girls. Check Aldous Hodge out. He is beautiful. So even more reason to want to check out The Invisible Man. So that's it, folks, for now. Let me know in the comments what you thought of any of the movies, anything you'd recommend I check out. I shall now go and read Isaac Good only knows what bedtime story. What excitement awaits me. So yeah, thanks for watching, folks. Look forward to speaking to you next month. Over and out from Lisa Loves.